created this cat head, which is kind of like what you've done with Elphaba's head, right? And I just want to show you. So I've got a moon behind here because I think you have a moon behind yours, and I've got this head, and as you can see, it's a smart object. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to take your Elphaba head, all the pieces, make them into a smart object. The reason you want them into a smart object, if I turn everything else off, I want this silhouette of the head. That's going to be important, that it all be in one smart object. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to desaturate the image. So I'm going to go in here to layer, new adjustment layer, and I'm going to do black and white. And I'm going to make sure when I do it that I clip on this button. I want the black and white to only affect the cat, not what's behind the cat. So as you can see, because I did that button, this is clipped. The other way to clip or unclip is to use your option key. Finger on the option key unclips, finger on the option key clips if I'm right here. Okay, that's going to be important if you want a colored background with this adjustment layer. Now, the kind of effect that you're looking for should go into the highlight areas. So the highlight right now is through the middle of the head. I don't know where your highlight is on Elphaba, but I'm going to go get another adjustment layer. I'm going to get brightness and contrast, and again, I want to clip it. I just want to deal with the cat. And so I'm going to turn up some of the brightness. I'm going to turn down some of the contrast. And then I'm going to come in here to this layer mask. And I'm going to get my paintbrush. And I'm going to make the paintbrush fairly large. And you can see that my opacity is about at 50%. And I'm going to paint out. I'm trying to get the effect that you're working with works best. Let me open this. It works best if there are darks and lights in the image, extremes of darks and lights. So let me do this so that I get kind of this light area running across the cat's face. All right, I'm going to darken this. Okay, now I'm ready to begin. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go here and I'm going to do a gradient mask. Gradient mask. So gradient fill, and you can go to basics. You can go and get a black and white gradient. And then once you have the black and white gradient, you can decide what direction it's going to go in. But the first thing I want to do, it's going to go from black to green because I think you want Elphaba to be green. I'm going to pick this bright, bright green. Okay, and then I can hit OK. And then I'm going to do this because I want the gradient to move across. I want that highlight to be here. And I'm going to clip this gradient mask to everything else. Watch this. Finger on the option key, clip. Okay? Now this gradient mask only is dealing with Elphaba's face. And I'm going to come up to my blend modes and I'm going to use hard light. Hard light gives us that kind of Zazi effect. Now you don't want the whole face to be green. So again, I'm going to come up to this layer mask. I'm going to change my opacity and I'm going to make sure the brush is very soft. I'm just going to do this in kind of soft layers. See how I'm painting out this side and I'm kind of painting out this side, and it becomes this kind of streak that goes right across her face. And if you feel like that's not bright enough, you can cheat, make a new layer, clip the layer, because again, we're only dealing with the cat. Get yourself a nice bright green, even brighter than the one we just did. I'm going to make the brush much smaller. And I'm going to put right in the center. I'm just going to lay that down. And then again, I'm going to make another layer mask. And I'm going to just kind of brush it out. I'm going to make it smaller. Right? And I'm going to tickle it until I get to the point that I want, that brilliant swath of green across the face. And again, I'm going to use hard light. So maybe I don't want it across her eye. Maybe I do. It's going to take a little bit of exploration. But what you want to do with your bright green or bright red or whatever you do, you want to follow the highlight areas. If you put this on a dark area of the face, it's not going to look good because it's not going to show. So look at your image. Look at where the highlights are crossing Elphaba's face. That's where you want the color to go. So you kind of sculpt the color on these layer masks. All right? Let me know how you feel about this, and we can talk about it. The other thing is, if you did want more of the green to show through, remember that you can always go into this black and white saturation mask, and you can either mask out. Here, I'm going to fill this with 50% gray. Fill. 50% gray. So now it's not entirely black and white. The black and white kind of gives you that very dramatic effect. You could also change the opacity of it. If you wanted a little bit of the color to show through. You can mask things out using these masks if you wanted more of Elphaba's natural color to show through. Okay? Let me know if you have questions.